everybody, this is Brittany, and today is April 28th in 2020, and it's early spring. We've been doing a lot in the garden. Plants are growing very well, so I just wanted to do a quick garden tour, show you guys what projects we're working on, how the garden's looking. So let's get started. Okay, so we'll start here on the porch. First of all, on Valentine's Day, Richard and I built this awesome table that I use for potting up and for, just storing things. I have some leeks here. I've been trying really hard this season to keep the porch organized, and it's working well so far. This year, we went to a nursery 3 hours away in Virginia called Edible Landscaping. And I ordered 6 very special blueberry plants. And also this Josta berry plant. I'm very excited for that. I have other little cuttings and such here. And then more plant propagation, a bunch of mints and catmints that I'm going to have available here very soon. Alright, so that's the front porch. Let's come into the little garden. So first of all, we have these big cages that we built this year to go on top of our strawberry bed. So once they've set fruit and it's beginning to ripen, we'll put those over the bed so critters can't get in there. So in this bed here, it's my Dahlia and asparagus bed. The asparagus hasn't done very well, so I might change that, but we'll see. This is the best greens I've ever grown. All this kale here overwintered, and it's setting seed now. I've been growing Tokyo Bacana. This is Sweet Valentine romaine. And then I have lobed lettuce here that's gorgeous. I have deer tongue lettuce. I have speckled bib. I have rogue dehiver. This head right here is maybe the most gorgeous head of lettuce I've ever grown. A problem we're having this season for the first time is we have voles in this garden. So they come through and they chew through the root, and the lettuce just flops over. So that's been happening nearly every day. That's kind of annoying, but it is what it is. I have Alabama blue collards here that most of them are bolting, so not super happy with that crop. Lamb's quarters is coming up. If you have these in your garden, don't pull them. These will grow all summer long and make a great summer green, especially when everything else is hot and weathered. Lamb's quarters goes all summer long. Just don't let it go to seed like I did a little bit here. Alright, so here's more Tokyo Bacana. This is amazing. We've been using it in smoothies. It's just like a loose forming Asian cabbage. Prize head lettuce. It's gorgeous. And all of this minus the Tokyo Bacana and the collards is from my own seed this year, which makes me even more excited and proud about this. And then we have Green Waves cabbage and a red mustard, Green Waves mustard, and here's a red mustard. Again, our amazing red Russian kale crop. I cannot wait to save seed from this. We have some flower bulbs we bought last year at the store when they were discounted that we just threw in this bed because we didn't have anywhere to put them at this point. I grew some of the most beautiful tulips I've ever seen in my whole life, and I'm obsessed with them now. So we're going to have to move these out into an actual flower spot. There's also some irises, some really pretty daffodils, and some crocus. That was a nice early spring delight. Alright, so here's my first crop of leeks. They're still pretty small. I started them from seed, and I'm excited to see how they do. I think these will be pretty vole proof, hopefully, Voles don't like leeks. We'll see. Here's more lettuce. So this lettuce all came up on its own. I usually just scatter seeds everywhere from when I'm cleaning seeds that I saved. So there's even more little babies coming up. And this year we went heavy last winter with hay, shredded leaves, and really kept this garden mulched. And it is relatively weed free. There's still like a few little weeds that we have to pull every now and then, but it isn't one over there where there's not cardboard and it's gravel. It's still pretty weedy, but aside from that, it's doing pretty good. Here is more speckled bib, and this I think is Rogue Dahlia or either Sweet Valentine romaine, I'm not sure. And then just a few cilantro plants. All right, here is the crazy green onion flower. I'm gonna have to clean this up. I think it's time for me to pull. A lot of these onions have been in the ground for 3 years. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and thin and put some new ones in here once all the flowers are done. The bees and butterflies really love onion flowers, as do I. They're really tasty in a salad. But this is starting to look a little too crazy for me. So I think I'm gonna clean that up in a few weeks. Okay, so here, last year I grew Gladiolas, and they had a bunch of like baby corms, and I wasn't sure what to do with them. So I just densely planted them all right here, hoping that they'll size up and become bigger, and then next year they'll actually flower. But it seemed like such a waste to like do nothing with them. And this soil here is like super shallow because the driveway used to come over here. So there's gravel under there, and I could never really grow much in this bed. So I was like, I'll just throw these corms in here. All right, more self-seeded lettuce or lettuce that I scattered. It's hard to say. We have red streaks, mustard, which is one of my favorite mustards that went to seed. I have cilantro going to seed here, arugula going to seed. So I'm curious to see, with all of these plants being in the same family and being close to each other, if I get any cool crosses next year. So that will be fun. All right, moving through the garden. All right, we put this little water thing here for lizards. We have lots of lizards that like to hang out like inside the tires and sunbathe. So we just gave them a little bit of water here. I have some pole beans planted here that haven't came up yet. On the other side of the trellis is our grape, and it is coming up very well. I know this isn't how you're supposed to prune grapes, but we're just letting it do its thing. It's a muscadine. Yeah, very happy. I ate a lot of grapes last summer. Okay, so that is the little garden. Now we're going to come into the big garden. Then we'll go over to that garden, and then we'll come over here and talk about what this excitement is here. Sorry, this car is coming. Okay, so coming into the big garden, this winter we put up this giant raised bed around our scarlet strawberry crop, which is the scarlet strawberries, pine berries, and then some transplants from the other strawberry bed that we had to move somewhere. So we have this, and then that's what those screens are for. So once they start fruiting, we'll just put this over this bed, and then the birds and critters can't get the strawberries. One thing we're doing very differently this year is we're taking advantage of our fence space and growing crops up the fences instead of trying to put our tomatoes like in a bed and then trying to stake them up and stuff. We figure why not just do it along the fence. All right, so we have lots of thyme, tomatoes all over the place. This is a bed of Egyptian walking onions that's new. I have lots of things going to seed as usual. Cilantro. These plants didn't do very well, but I like to eat the cilantro flowers, so I've left them. We have some carrots that are going to go to seed that are from my seed last year, so that's exciting. We've added lots of new raised beds, and this is all from the wood that was on our barn. We took some of the boards down, and we've been adding raised beds, which we prefer for sure. It's funny, in here, we were going to top it because we got compost, and we decided to put a bunch of fresh, like, veggie scraps from the food co-op under it. And then a raccoon discovered, to his delight, all the produce and tore up our beautiful compost. But that's okay. We're going to let it keep breaking down, and then we'll rake it out. This bed here, I've been trying to do a little bit more interplanting. So I have Genovese basil down the middle, and then I have, these are a yellow onion, which we grew onions last year for the first time, and we're obsessed with homegrown onions. All right, so let's come over here. This is just plants that need to get pulled out. This I'll have to explain in a second. We needed to protect some strawberries, and this is like what we had on hand. So let's go over there. Of course, just more arugula and onion flowers. This is my first bed of Egyptian walking onions that I did, and it's starting to do its top sets. Alright, so this here is our super legit strawberry cage that we built. And there's so many ripe strawberries down in there. We harvested our first round of them yesterday, and it was 1.5 pounds, which is more strawberries than we've ever grown, so we're super jazzed about that. The only problem with this cage is we wanted to make it to where it would fit on top of our raised beds. So when we need protection for things, we can just use it for other things aside from, once a year protecting our strawberries. So because of that, these strawberries did not make it inside the cage, and they were starting to ripen, and critters were starting to get at them. And I was having flashbacks from last year when all of our strawberries got eaten. So we just threw together this very makeshift cage around them, and we'll see how it goes. Here in the gutter, we haven't really had much luck growing anything in it. I think it's the type of soil we have in there. It's this bad potting mix. So I threw Egyptian walking onions here, and then we just tried ripping some mint out of the garden and putting it in the gutter. So we'll see how that does. Okay, so let's talk about these potatoes. So all of the potatoes in here are potatoes we saved from our garden last year. So it's our own seed potatoes. And man, they are doing amazing. They're loving this raised bed. They are growing profusely. So we're going to have to keep on adding more stuff on top here. We have another bed here that we're going to top. We have this mustard plants that have gone to seed that are taller than me. We have a little crop of garlic, our 2 rhubarb plants, which is just amazing. Soon we're going to make our first ever rhubarb and strawberry pie. You can see down there, it's just grown really, really well, and it's super exciting. I probably have garlic planted too close to it, but like everything, I'm just learning and seeing what works. Lots of a nice hyssop. Our roses are just popping off. They're just so beautiful. Okay, so that's most of this. We have another raised bed here that's new. I have planted Thai basil. This is going to be the first year I really try to grow a crop to sell. So I'm going to be selling fresh basil to my food co-op, which they're really excited about because I have a hard time getting consistent, good quality fresh basil. So I'm going to be happy to provide that for them. So I already have another round of basil started inside the house, and I'm just going to keep on starting new trays of basil every 2 weeks. And then on the outside of this, I have red onions planted. And then on the inside of this basil, I have a row of leeks. So I've been trying to, not just have beds of one thing, interplanting. This is a raised bed that's ready to get topped with compost. We are trying to some other weeds and do less weed pulling. by just laying cardboard on top of our beds and pathways. Kind of like how people use silage tarps or, landscape fabric and such. We have lots of cardboard, so that's what we like to use. Catmint is always beautiful. We have our garlic plants here. These are a few Egyptian onions that I tucked in because I had extra space. We have peas throughout the garden, climbing up trellises. My comfrey is beautiful. Any place where something didn't come up, I'm just chucking in other plants. These are watermelons that have came up from that super amazing watermelon plant that we grew last year. So I'm going to have to move these around, dig them up and move them around. Okay, so over here, coming into berry land, our dewberries already flowering. This one's the Logan or Tay. It didn't really grow on last year's growth, which I put up. So I'm going to have to just trim that away. This guy is a beast. I can't wait for these berries to come on. Here's one of its babies that it just decided to grow. And we have our figs starting to come up, which I'm super jazzed about. We have our biggest fig here named Debbie, who's a brown turkey fig. And she's pushing off so much growth right now. We have our blueberries. These two are ambrosia blueberries that we bought at Lowe's that really aren't doing so hot. But our pink lemonade blueberries, look at this beauty. It is just loaded with berries all over the plant. We're going to get so many blueberries this year. And we have 2 of them. Both of them are doing equally well. So that is super exciting to me. And then we have, let's see what else is over here. We can go look at the other berries. So this is a black raspberry that we put in last year that's just starting to, do its thing. We have a thornless blackberry, which is already up the fence. We have another thornless blackberry that it's on my list to get this guy going up the fence. Another one, and another thornless blackberry. We put in a lot of berries last year because we were so excited when we were eating berries all summer long. This is another bed of scarlet strawberries. We have 3 figs in here. I've also planted horseradish in here because I wasn't sure where else to put it because I know it's going to spread. And I've deemed this part of the garden my herb garden. So I figured this is as good of a place as any. And then again, with what I was saying earlier about growing stuff up the fences, I've put in some cucumbers up this fence line. There's a happy fig right here. All right, so let's go outside of this fence. We made the decision. We've had these mints in buckets for 3 years now. And finally we decided to just put them in the ground. This is a big patch of mugwort that was here when we got here that I haven't had the heart to take out because I like mugwort. I think it's a cool herb. But anyways, we figured the mints and the mugwort can battle it out and we'll see who dominates this space. So those are our mints. We have another fig, of course. I cannot resist and bought a new rosemary plant this year. This is a aronia berry that we put in last year that's doing very well. And we have a second one here that sadly did not come up this year. So that's a bummer, but that's how it goes sometimes. Planting herbs along the house here. These were all anise hyssops. Richard really feels like we should not have plants growing in pathways. And all of these anise hyssops that came up in the pathway. So I dug them up and moved them over here. So it's kind of cool. We have like a little anise hyssop row And here's our bedroom amateurs actually in there, which is funny. So it's going to be really beautiful because these guys, butterflies, love them like crazy. So I'll be able to look at our bedroom window right here and see all of the butterflies dancing around. Okay. And then over here, oh, there's more tomatoes. Again, up the fence. Trying to work smarter, not harder. We have new asparagus planting, which if you've ever dug a ditch when you have heavy clay, you know how much fun I must have had this day. So we have little baby asparaguses, and I tried to follow the instructions this time because the other asparagus in the other garden, I didn't really do it the way they told me to. So maybe that's why the plants aren't doing really well. Anyways, we have sage, Mexican bush sage here. This is a new one for me that I could not resist when I saw it at the store. Lemon balm, more narcissus. Our oldest fig here named Chia, who's an Ashidia fig. It's doing the best out of all of them. It's just so exciting to see. And we have more berries here. This is a thornless something. I don't know. I'd have to look at my notes. I have it recorded. Right here we put in a new pawpaw. We have more tomatoes along the fence. We have, I think you guys have already seen our fire pit. This greenhouse is okay. We grew some greens in it. I'll walk in there in a second. This video is going to be really long, so I hope y'all like seeing everything because I'm just going to dive in because it's been so long. So along here we have pole beans planted. We have lavenders. These 3 I put in last year. I don't know if this one's going to make it. And then I put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more lavender plants. Here we have our pawpaw that we put in last year. I've been planting burdock all over the place. Here we have perilla that just self-seeded itself there. We have mayoga or Japanese ginger, and then fish mint. Okay, so I think that's everything that's over here. Richard rebuilt all of our fences, which I'm so excited about because we were having this dog that our neighbor lets run around, get in our yard, in our garden, like on our front porch, which was not ideal. So, new fences. Oh, and last year our fence was only 12 inches high. We raised it up. So we have this all the way around our garden now. So it's way more secure. So hopefully the groundhog will not get in this year. I'm optimistic, but not super sure that's going to happen. So in here it looks kind of crazy. We have lettuce, and it is like aphid nightmare story in here. You guys look at the amount of aphids we have. But look at this ladybug larva. So, and here's a ladybug there. So the battle is being fought not by me with pesticides, but by nature. Nature usually balances herself out. Predators come in and take care of the problem. But anyways, we grew some really yummy lettuce in here throughout the winter, which is what we like to use this little fiberglass greenhouse for. It also keeps firewood dry for us for our fire pit. Okay, let's cut over to, oh, and also an idea we have for in here. We have this bathtub that was down in our cellar. I'm thinking I might put it in that greenhouse and put some of my red wiggler worms in it and just use it as a compost tub and just, do red wiggler compost in it inside the greenhouse during the summertime. Okay, let's move over to the new space. Okay, coming back because I have to brag on this awesome door that Richard built. He is just amazing. And he's been fixing things and building new things. So there's a little latch right here that holds it open. That is wonderful. We've added new tires down the driveway for our flower bulbs, because I've gone flower crazy. These are all Gladiolas and lilies. Crazy catnip. I reckon we'll come down here real quick and then we'll talk about the really exciting stuff. We had planted mint here last year and it is clear all the way down to here. The mint has taken over, which is fine. Mint tea is our favorite tea. Okay, let's see, we trimmed up our, what is it? The flower pear, Bartlett, no, I forget what it's called. It was here before, so the birds like that tree, so we're keeping it until we have something better. So in this weedy chaos here, we have our rose hips from last year, and then Burgess, the company I had ordered them from, has a 1-year guarantee, so I sent for replacements, and they sent us all these new rose rugosas that we put in probably a couple weeks ago. Same with that pawpaw tree I showed you. That was a replacement from last year that didn't come up. And the horseradish we put in last year didn't grow. So I'm really excited. They sent replacements for all of that. That's super cool. Here is what was our, what do you call them? I'm blanking on it. Sunchoke bed. Our sunchoke bed totally got wiped out by the voles. Like, I didn't think anything could take them out. We have just a few sunchokes poking up this year. The rest of them, pretty sure all of them got eaten by the voles. And then this is just a weedy mess, but it is what it is. It's not my priority right now. We have way bigger, more exciting projects than weeding this bed. All right. So here is what we started yesterday. It's going to be a greenhouse, y'all. I'm so excited. We started yesterday with just like creating where it's going to be and starting to like put down the foundation and getting it level. We're using the Anna White greenhouse plans that you can get for free on the internet. I think I'll do a separate video all about this greenhouse because it's going to be a real game changer for us. We have, of course, a pile of mulch, wood chips at all times. We have compost, which we got from a new source this year. If you're in the area, we got it from Ingleside Compost Facility in High Point, North Carolina, and it's really nice. We are super happy with it. And we used it to top our beds and to build new beds over here, which is our new sheet mulched area that we put in this winter. We were going to try to go all the way to the road, but now the greenhouse and other projects have kind of taken over, which is fine. We got a lot done this year. So we have lots of potatoes growing over here, which we were kind of nervous about because there's no fence. But we're going to see. So these potatoes are all doing very well. It's different varieties. We've never ordered seed potatoes before this year. We always just like use grocery store potatoes and cut them up, or gotten some from a local farmer, which is what I'm growing over in the other garden. But these are doing well. We're trying corn for the first time ever, which we're both really excited about. I'm not sure how well it's doing because it's looking kind of pale, but usually we would never like set up compost on top of a thick layer of wood chips. But that's what we did because we experiment and we like to see what happens. So we're going to see how these things do. We figured that the corn would have strong enough roots to get down through the wood chips. We'll see how that goes. And then we have a bed of sunflowers here, which we just grew because I love flowers. You can see here, there is something coming in the night. I'm just rooting around. I think it's looking for like earthworms, but it comes every single day and just comes along the edge. At least it's not in the garden right now, which it was getting into our garden before and doing this. So anyways, I don't know what that is. Here's our high chia persimmon from last year. We put in, oh my, see, something is just digging around. We put in an American persimmon here. Hopefully that tree will be okay. And then we have something that didn't come back. I think this was a mulberry. We have another mulberry here that's surviving this torture. And then we have nothing, or there might be a little mulberry in here if it makes it. Yeah, we have a little mulberry right there, and then a hazelnut, and then those blueberries that are on the porch. My project for today, while Richard's working on the greenhouse, is to plant all of my new blueberries here. And we have tunnels like how we have for the elderberries. I think I've shown you guys those before. We have cages we'll put around them to keep them safe from the critters, because I know that the critters are going to try and eat them. Alright, so let's just come over here. I think the elderberries is the last thing. Here's a mama bird. She has a nest right here, and she's probably going to get a little upset with me for being so close to her babies. And so we have our elderberries from last year. And then we have started dumping the compost from the co-op here as an offering to the raccoon and other critter that was getting in our garden and tearing things up. So he's been coming here to eat, which I think is helping. But anyways, the elderberries are doing amazing. Minus that one. I think we're going to put our new Josta berry over in this area too. There's the mama bird. Her nest is right here. Her babies just came out of their eggs like 2 days ago. And that's why we're parking our cars back here. We usually park them under here, but we don't like disturbing her and her babies because I think it stresses her out, and she's a nice bird. So anyways, I think that is everything. Oh, this is a new gate. I guess I'll just end on these beautiful flowers that have never flowered before this year. And it's so beautiful to see them. And then our just like dianthus that has been growing ever since we planted it. Okay guys, well, thank you for sticking through that entire long garden tour. But you know, us gardeners, once we start walking around and talking about plants, it's hard for us to shut up. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. I'm going to try to do more videos at some point, but you know, I'm either like doing lots of videos or doing none. That's my only two settings. And we have lots of projects and work to do here, so we'll see. I hope everybody's having fun gardening. Lots of people are growing their first gardens, and I'm just so excited and happy for you guys. Keep on going. You're going to kill some plants. It's normal. Just keep growing more and learning from your mistakes. Connect with fellow gardeners in your area. If you meet any gardener, they're happy to share seeds and plants and knowledge with you. So just excited for all the new gardeners that are starting this year. All right, see you guys in the next one.